So guys, it was a heated moment on the floor of the Senate as a senator raised alarm saying the borrowed fund that they recently approved, that they were not given enough information on how that fund is going to be used. I mean, the borrowed fund. If you can remember, just last week, the Senate approved another $21 billion to be borrowed as a foreign loan for the Tinubu's government. And this senator is raising alarm saying details were not provided to them on how this money is going to be used. This is coming at a time when Peter Obi is equally raising alarm saying at the end of 2025, Nigeria's debt must have exceeded 200 trillion naira. Don't forget that Buhari left us with 77 trillion naira. And Tinubu, just within the space of 2 years plus, has borrowed 100 and something trillion naira. And we don't even know where this money is being channeled to. That is just the worrisome aspect, because like Peter Obi will always tell us that there's nothing wrong with borrowing, but when you are borrowing for consumption, that is where the worries come in. But if you are borrowing to reinvest so that Nigerians can generate, or the country can generate revenue from those borrowing, that there's no cause for alarm. Now with this level of borrowing going on under the APC-led administration, Nigerians can hardly point to the infrastructure they promised Nigerians, or even our school system, our education system that is falling apart, let alone the health system that is equally collapsing. I mean, we cannot point to where all this money that is being approved by the senators, are being channeled to. Now, I'm going to allow you to take a look at the video where the senator is questioning Akpabio about the details of this money they are approving. Now, this is coming at a time when this morning a video was trending, that the APC is already campaigning in Abuja. Guess what? They are sharing 500 naira to Nigerians alongside biscuit, a pack of biscuits. People are wondering if the borrowed funds are being reserved for politics. That is just the questions. People are wondering if they are keeping all this money they are collecting for their own personal interests. Don't forget that Nigerians have been dragging Remi Tinubu on the social media because recently she gave out 1 billion, and not quite long, I think last week she equally gave out another 1 billion. And Nigerians are saying, is it the Remi Tinubu who borrowed money from Shetima's wife, during campaign in 2023 is now the one that is sharing in billions? So guys, there are a lot of questions, especially now that the APC has started campaigning and the only strategy they have is sharing of money to Nigerians. Is that where all the borrowed funds are being channeled to? That's the questions Nigerians are asking. I'm just going to allow you to take a look at how this senator is raising alarm on loans being approved without proper information. I mean, details on how these funds are going to be used. But before then, just take a look at this short clip of Nigerian girl lamenting when she saw the Tinubu's campaign trail in Abuja sharing 500 naira to people alongside a pack of biscuit per person. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell. Now take a look.
Relax, Tinubu is fixing Nigeria. This is exactly what I saw when I went to Maraba. Some people have sold their integrity for political campaign. Look at their faces, deceiving the citizens and feeding them with lies. I'll be playing a record of their video. Oh yeah, listen to what they have to say.
From 8:30 to 20.
To fear upon a speech. Has it not gotten to the extent of using children for political campaign? Just imagine sharing biscuit and 500 naira for this children. The worst of it all is tribalism. I said I will never talk about politics, but they pay me for body, they pay me. Shame no, they catch these old men and they listen to them.
If you enter Abuja now, you don't like what the wicked they do for Abuja.
These are basic social amenities that are supposed to be provided to the citizen for crying out loud.
They come and verse for our house. And I don't like us, we don't do e-gates for our airports then. Plenty other things go come. And our Baba they do.
They are not sending GMO food to Nigeria. The citizens are dying of hunger. You are talking about price of food is increasing by the day. What about the educational system? If you see government schools today, shame go catch you. The government no longer provide job opportunities for the youth. When will Nigeria ever get better? Have we forgotten so? No be all of us suffer for cashless. Some of una go see collect 500 naira vote for na grandfather.
We all represent constituencies. We need to go home and say, this is how these monies, when borrowed, will impact in either security, what amount in agriculture. When it comes to states, let's know how much goes into this state. President, I listened to the committee presentation and I listened to Senator Olamileko, the chairman of appropriation. First and foremost, Mr. President, this has to do with our collective inheritance. This is a loan that my generation and generation yet unborn will be saddled to payment or to paying. Yes, this is a proposed payment plan, borrowing plan, but in this document, there is no indication of how these loans will be paid. That is one. Secondly, if you look at the committee's report, on page 3, number 1, that the loan shall specify the purpose of which the borrowing is intended, which shall only be a long-term capital expenditure and human capital development. Going further on page 8, Mr. President, you will now take number 5 under the table. Most NGOs are unable to implement their capital projects effectively due to long delays in funding disbursement. The loans will go a long way to addressing this challenge. Inclusion of this project in the National External Borrowing Plan will enable financial closure and timely implementation. This is not specified which MDS and how much does each one cost. We all represent constituencies. We need to go home and say, this is how these monies, when borrowed, will impact in either security, what amount in agriculture. When it comes to states, let's know how much goes into this state. President, I listened to the committee presentation and I listened to Senator Olamileko, the chairman of appropriation. First and foremost, Mr. President, this has to do with our collective inheritance. This is a loan that my generation and generation yet unborn will be saddled to payment or to paying. Yes, this is a proposed payment plan, borrowing plan, but in this document, there is no indication of how these loans will be paid. That is one. Secondly, if you look at the committee's report, on page 3, number 1, that the loan shall specify the purpose of which the borrowing is intended, which shall only be a long-term capital expenditure and human capital development. Going further on page 8, Mr. President, you will now take number 5 under the table. Most NGOs are unable to implement their capital projects effectively due to long delays in funding disbursement. The loans will go a long way to addressing this challenge. Inclusion of this project in the National External Borrowing Plan will enable financial closure and timely implementation. This is not specified which MDS and how much does each one cost? Open page 9. Number 8. Part of the loans will be used to fund priority projects such as railways, security, agriculture, power plants, housing, and digital connectivity to boost production. Mr. President, this needs specification. How much goes to in each? And therefore, go to page 10.
Leader, you have 1 minute remaining.
Go to page 10, Mr. President, with all due respect. The committee further notes that 12 states of Abia, Bauchi, Borno, Gombe, Kaduna, Katsina, Lagos, Niger, Oyo, Sokoto, Yobe, and Zamfara will benefit. These states will benefit how much? What is the demarcation? Finally, sir. Finally, Mr. President, take a look at our Constitution. Section 81, Section 82, Section 83, and Section 84. Mr. President, if you allow me another 1 minute, I will read these provisions. What am I saying? I understand the work put in by the committee, but I don't think the committee has done a job good enough for the presentation of this chamber. We all represent constituencies. We need to go home and say, this is how these monies, when borrowed, will impact in either security, what amount in agriculture. When it comes to states, let's know how much goes into this state. But here, Mr. President, most of the provisions...
With all due respect, former leader, your time is off. You've spoken more than 3-4 minutes. Thank you very much. Thank you.
It's okay, Mr. President. I thank you for the audience.
Thank you. You know, I gave you...
My distinguished colleagues, my name is Mohammed Sani Musa. First, I will want to commend the committee for doing a very good job. Because most of the jobs that we are doing, well, what we did in the committee level is just to process what has already been approved in the medium-term expenditure framework. If you look at the borrowings, we have approved it right from the time we passed the MTEF, 2025 to 2027. So, and the borrowing plan is spread over a period of almost 6 years of disbursement and execution. It's not a borrowing for 2025 to fund budget, no. Is a borrowing that was spread over a period of 6 years, cut across so many sectors: technology, agriculture, health, security, railways, infrastructure. And we have also, while we were working, there is complete breakdown of every of the loan. Even those from the subnationals were captured. And Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues, there is no economy that advances without borrowing. And what we are borrowing in Nigeria today, compared to what we have and the prospects of what we have, especially with the tax reform that we have come up with, you will see that even as we are today, we have not defaulted one single time in our repayments. When he is talking about repayment plan, the repayment plan, especially from loans from multilateral, bilateral, or development partners, what they looked at is the revenue ratio to your GDP. And when they compare and they see that, yes, you are doing good and you have not defaulted, your rating still stands. So why should we not take this money to help Nigeria in many of the challenges that we're having, especially in food security, in security itself, and in our infrastructures, and everything is captured in this loan. So I believe that what the committee has done and with the wisdom of Mr. President, this is the best that we can do at this period.
Thank you for the wonderful insight into this issue, into this report. Let me also call on the chairman, Senate Committee.
Made that all the 36 states of the Federation will benefit from in various interventions the government proposed. But most interestingly to me, Mr. President, for the first time, I have seen an elaborate provision made for money to be borrowed to build the Eastern Rail Line from Port Harcourt to Maiduguri. A provision that was put in the budget, $3 billion. I didn't need to look at any other thing to support this borrowing plan. Yes, because I've been on this chamber clamoring through motions that Eastern Rail Line corridor from Port Harcourt to Maiduguri should be reconstructed. Now, $3 billion have been provided for it. So this accords to the needs and desires of people who use that rail line. Among other things that I saw, the repayment plan, some of them have 20 to 35 years. It's not something that you borrow today and pay back tomorrow. So it gives the government the latitude to plan and they execute this necessary infrastructure for the benefit of all Nigerians. So on this note, Mr. President, I commend President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for heeding to the call for the construction of Eastern Rail Line. This is now the first time I'm seeing it provided for in the borrowing plan. So our people will be happy with it. I thank you very much.
So thank you very much.
So guys, I'm going to take you through some of the reactions of Nigerians. Let's start with Peter Obi saying that by the end of 2025, Nigeria's debt may have surpassed 200 trillion naira. This person says, so what do you propose, sir? This person is asking Peter Obi, what is he saying? What are you trying to say? This other person say he warned the king. They wouldn't listen. And if it happens, it will just be news. Hey, it will just be news, honestly. Nigerians cannot act, you know, just like Kenyans had, Kenyans are leading the way when it comes to, you know, trying to correct the mess of politicians in their country. Now, this person say, they mocked Peter Obi when he warned about the ports. Now, Nigeria is losing business to Togo. Hey, yes, I'm quickly going to make video on this. Yes, I'm going to make video on this, actually. Today, he warns about debt. Today, he warns about debt. Debt may hit 200 trillion by end of 2025. Will they listen or wait till it's too late again? Fake economics. Real suffering. Hashtag. Listen to Peter Obi, Nigeria debt crisis. I think this makes a lot of sense to me, you know. This makes a lot of sense to me. They mocked Peter Obi. And this other person said, that's what you see when your government is unproductive and useless, only depend on loans for survival, making it to swallow insult from smaller countries because they might go seek a loan in that country. That's what I believe, in that country very soon. That's what he added. Hey, and this other person say, make everybody go strike. The country don't too overspoil. All these unfortunate leaders and politicians no care, but now they to borrow money and steal with no impact, cause hardship, poverty, insecurity, and telling citizens to be patient with stupid policies while living lavishly. Another person say, they don't care. Borrowing and stealing agenda. They will be okay when they leave office with all the stolen public funds. The citizens will suffer heavily for their actions. Let it surpass 700 trillion. They don't care. They created the fraudulent system and the system can't stop them. Hey, Nigerians, I think there is fire on the mountain if you are understanding what is happening. This person said, even you will borrow more, or now your money you will use run Nigeria. Hey, this person is saying that Peter Obi is going to borrow more. Let him borrow more. We love borrowing, but we show result for it, you know. Nobody is against borrowing. Peter Obi say borrow, it is good, but just show us result. Another person said, there is no wrongdoing in borrowing as long as the government is functioning effectively. You once said that you will borrow money to support the naira if you were in government. Therefore, if Tinubu decides to borrow money to execute projects, why is that considered bad? This person is saying, which project in Nigeria, which project is Tinubu borrowing for? This person said the politicians in Nigeria is not aware what Peter Obi's economic policies means for Nigeria. This other person say Lamba Chinese figure master. This person say chai, why can't we see this country before things go out of hand? Okay, he's trying to say, why can't we sell this country before things go out of hand? If they are ready, I will bring buyers. I'm an agent. Hey, somebody is willing to help sell Nigeria. Can you imagine that? This other person said, let him keep on crying. He can never be president. Another person said, this warning is deep. Another person say, this year, sir, Peter Obi is coming. Another person say, why can't Tinubu be taking advice from Peter Obi? Peter Obi is not desperate to be president. If Tinubu is getting it right, Obi will simply retire and face his business and charity. Things are getting worse. Another person said, Kalu government, one chance regime. He's trying to say that Peter Obi's government is Kalu. This other person said, they plan on making you pay. This person said, Reno bookmark this. Another person said, talk it till tomorrow. Your supporters don't fuck up already. Another person said, there is literally no country that doesn't owe. Go and fact check and allow us to hear word on this street dollar. Anyway, what does he know about that? Oh my God. Anyway, guys, this is Peter Obi. He raised alarm before on Nigerian ports, you know, and they didn't listen. And today, he is raising alarm again on, you know, too much borrowing by the government with little to show for it. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think about this in the comment section below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell. Please give this video a like so that YouTube can recommend it to others, and drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you.